Someone raids your stream and your chat automatically shouts them out with a link to their channel, the game they were playing, and on-screen graphics. I'm going to show you exactly how to set this up, and all you need is StreamerBot in OBS. So crack open StreamerBot and let's get started. The first thing we want to do is detect when a raid is happening. Head over to your Actions page, right-click the Actions panel, select Add, and call it Raid Auto Shoutout, and click OK. Next, head over to the Actions Trigger section and search for the Twitch Raid Trigger. To trigger for any number of raiders, we'll leave the minimum and max blank, and select OK. Now, in Sub-Actions, search for the Twitch Send Message to Channel action. In here, type something like %user%, found us. They just finished playing %game %. Check them out over at twitch.tv/%user%. And press OK. Now, if we test this, you see that %user% will show up as the username of the streamer who raided us, and the twitch.tv URL at the end will show up as a link to their channel. Right now, the game won't display correctly until we add one more thing, so let's go ahead and fix that. We're going to add a new sub-action called getUserInfo for target. This gives us a lot more information from the channel that's raiding us, which includes the game they were playing, their channel description, their profile image, all things that we're going to use. For the user login here, we'll just do %user%. Now drag this to the top of the action list. And now when you test your trigger, you should see that the game populates. Just like that. Now, at the simplest level, we're all set. Whenever a user raids your stream, this message will be sent thanking the raider, linking to their channel, and displaying the game that they were playing. Of course, we can do better than that by adding some visuals to the stream. Before setting up any sources in OBS, however, we have to connect OBS to StreamerBot, which is a snap. First, pop open OBS. Head to the Tools drop-down in the top menu and click WebSocket Server Settings. Make sure Enable WebSocket Server is checked, click Generate Password, and then, without letting anyone else see the following information, click Show Connect Info. We're going to pass the server IP, port, and password to StreamerBot, so make a note of them. Back in StreamerBot, head to the Stream Apps on the left-hand side menu and select OBS, then right-click in this section and choose Add. Let's call this connection OBS. For the host, copy your server port, and then your port to port, and your server password to password. I would personally check both the Auto Connect on Startup and Reconnect on Disconnect options, then click OK. Right-click your new OBS connection and select Connect. And now StreamerBot can control stuff inside OBS, like, for example, displaying the profile image of a raider. So let's hop back into OBS and do just that. First, add a new browser source. This source will become the raider's profile image, so name it just that. For the URL, just leave the default since StreamerBot will be updating it automatically. And for the size, set it to 200 by 200, then click OK. Position it in the upper top left corner, not exactly flush with the top, a couple pixels below it. Back in StreamerBot, in the Actions page with our Auto Shoutout action selected, we're going to add an OBS Set Browser Source URL action. For the scene, set it to whatever scene the browser source we just added is within. Select the source in the source dropdown, and for the URL type %target user profile image URL %. This is coming from the target info action we added earlier and sets the browser source to be the user's profile image. The test button here won't work, but press OK to close this window and test by right-clicking the trigger and choosing Test Trigger, and you should see your browser source switch to a profile image. Now let's make it only appear on screen for 10 seconds. Search for the OBS Set Source Visibility State action, and choose your scene and source again, and set the state as visible. Now search for a delay action, and set the delay to 10,000 milliseconds, or 10 seconds, and press OK. Finally, right-click your OBS Source Visibility action, select Duplicate, double-click the copy, and switch the state to Hidden. In OBS, hide your browser source by clicking the little eye icon to the right of it. Now the raider's profile image will only appear when someone raids you, and it'll disappear again after 10 seconds. Now, this works pretty dang well, but if you want to go the extra mile, we're going to add one more unique feature to this system. When the profile picture appears on screen, I also want a text box to appear with their channel description. Really give your viewers an idea of who rated you and show your appreciation properly. If you want to follow this step, you'll want to grab the description bubble graphic I made for you by following the link in the description. Put it wherever you keep your stream graphics. Now, back in OBS, add a new image source, call it description bubble. Click Browse to find the image you just downloaded, open that up, and click OK. Finally, the last thing we want to add to OBS is the text that will appear. Add a new text GDI plus source and call it writer description. To display any emojis the user has in their description, you're going to want to go to Select Font and choose the UI emoji font. Set the size to 36 and click OK. Scroll down a bit to find the background color option and set the opacity to 95%. Below this, set the vertical and horizontal alignment to center, make sure outline is checked, and set the outline size to 8, and make sure the color is black. All the way at the bottom of this window, you're going to check the Use Custom Text Extents option and set the width to 1920 and the height to 100. Make sure the wrap option is checked, click OK, and hop back into StreamerBot. We're in the home stretch now. First, let's add the writer's description to the bubble graphic when they appear. Search for an OBS set GDI text subaction, and for the source, select your writer description. In text, type %target description %, which again comes from the get user info action, and click OK. Drag this action just above profile image visible, then test this to make sure the text in OBS populates with the writer's channel description. Beautiful! Now let's make the bubble image and description text disappear when the user's profile image does. Back in OBS, hide the writer description and description bubble sources. Then, back in StreamerBot, duplicate the bottom source visibility action, the one that hides the profile image. Double-click it, and switch the source to be the description bubble. Duplicate this, and set the source to be the writer description. This will hide both the writer description and the description bubble when the profile image is hidden. Now, duplicate both of these, but set them to be visible instead of hidden, and drag them both below the action that makes the profile pic visible. And now, whenever someone raids you, a message is sent in chat thanking them with a link to their profile, and their profile image and channel description will appear on screen for 10 seconds, before disappearing again. There's only one more contingency to check here, and then we're actually done. What if the user doesn't have a channel description for some reason? In that case, the text bubble graphic appearing without any text in it would look pretty weird. We can fix this with an if-else statement. If the user has a description, write it into OBS. Otherwise, send a different message of your own. So let's search for the if-else action. For the input, we're going to type %target description %. And for the operation, we're going to select is null or empty, all the way at the bottom of the list, and click OK. This will check if the writer actually has any description filled out for their channel. Now we're going to drag our set GDI text action into the false result, so that when the user does have a description, it updates our OBS source with that. Then duplicate the same GDI text action, drag this into the true result of the if-else statement, and double-click it to set the text to something you want the profile image to say if the writer doesn't have a description. I'm just going to say, I have arrived, and click OK. And finally, drag this if-else statement back to where the first GDI text action originally was, just above profile image visible. And now everything's in place. You have a spiffy automatic shoutout for anyone who raids your stream with a chat message and an on-screen graphic. There's still more ways we can spice this up, such as using free plugins to move the graphics and sound effects to make it more dramatic. So if you find that enticing, subscribe now and I'll catch you on the flip side. Have fun streaming.